Hello and welcome. My name is Ana Maria. If we haven't met before, I am leading the community project here at Butter. Welcome to Butter. If you're using it for the very first time, Butter is the all-in-one tool to deliver collaborative and virtual workshops that are also fun and engaging and easy peasy. Now, I do have to say that the session is being recorded, as you can tell by that red button. So we are going to make it available on YouTube and for the Butter community. If you are feeling uncomfortable with that, feel free to keep your camera closed. There's absolutely not a problem. Otherwise, we would love if we could see your faces during the session. And I am so super excited to have Sabrina with me today for two main reasons. One of them is the topic that she's bringing in here today. And the second reason is the fact that I've been following her on LinkedIn for a long time. I don't know if she knows, but I'm always keeping an eye on what she's doing. And Sabrina is a design strategist. She's the founder of Design Sprint Studio, and her focus is to help companies make bold decisions with confidence and to build the right products and also to innovate. So bringing new, fresh ideas. She is also frequently organizing different meetups and events with thought leaders in the innovation space, product development space. So if you follow her on LinkedIn like I do, you know that she's a big fan of this kind of crazy tech setups. Like she's always having like her screens. And also I always see amazing, beautifully designed virtual whiteboards in her setups. So I'm very excited for the session. Sabrina, welcome. And I'm going to pass it over to you to introduce us to today's session.
Yeah, thanks, Ana Maria. Thanks for your nice introduction. And also thanks a lot for translating this board from Miro to Miro, because I think you know that Miro is not yet here integrated to Butter, but will be soon.
Emphasis on yet, exactly.
With my post, I mentioned that, and I already get reaction from Miro. So they are just improving the speed to get Miro integrated to Butter. But anyway, I'm doing everything on Miro, and Ana Maria was so helpful and supportive to translate everything to Miro. So this is why we can run that, let's say, in the same way here now in Butter. So I want to talk about the culture of innovation, and I want at the same time also provide a framework. And the framework, I would like to credit Marco Velasco to that. So he's Mexico. Ana Maria just said that I'm very active in the community, hosting frequently events. This is in the Google Design Sprint chapter, Stuttgart, and Marco is the chapter lead from Mexico, and he is really innovative and creating all kinds of framework. And this was something he did last year, and it is so compelling. And I was really happy when he showed me this framework. And I hope that so I shortened the process. So this is now, let's say, 1.5 workshop. We won't be able to go through all of that, but you can have the board, you will understand how to run it. So we will do kind of a demo session so that you understand how to do it. And I hope that will also help you to run that within your organization or with your clients. So therefore, I would love to understand who you are. So what is your background? I just assume that you have kind of facilitation skills. It might be that you are there for a reason here at Butter. So what is your background? Maybe you can just share that with me so I understand better also where maybe to emphasize more on. Because let's say the perspective I'm talking now, and I want to share with you the insights about innovation culture and also about the workshop, is from the perspective of a facilitator. So to show you how you facilitate that. I don't want you to become innovative because I just guess you are, but I want to show you how you can lead a team or within your organization or a client's team to innovate. So we have design thinker, business facilitator. Yeah, I think perfect. So on the first glance, it's like you are all facilitating. You have the perspective of a facilitator, which is great. So I assume you are already have kind of a knowledge level. So I don't go into the nitty gritty. But if you have any questions about facilitation or you get lost, just let us know, and Anna Maria will help me in the with the chat. So when you have any questions, just put it into the chat. And just quickly to let's say continue or to follow the nice introduction from Anna Maria. I'm a design strategist, like she said. Totally correctly. And I only can add to that I grow my business working with leading organizations like, so I'm from Stuttgart here, Germany, and there are all these nice automotive companies. I led the, let's say, workshops with Mercedes, Porsche, also Lab Mobility. And now I'm focusing on companies who put planet before profit. So you might already understand that I shift a bit perspective here. And my goal is to design better products for that, let's say, is good for companies, for the planet, but also for the people. So this is my focus now. And I also love teaching design sprints and talking about design sprints, which is my, let's say, my core method, and everything else relates also from that. Strategy frameworks, and I'm really love also to share my time and my knowledge with the community. So saying that, I would like to explain you why I'm intrigued by this topic, why I'm not maybe talk about design sprints here. And I guess that you have a similar experience like me. So this is the culture of innovation is one of the most critical issues in innovation. So when I run design sprints, I think it's similar to when you have also another kind of, let's say, innovation workshop or design thinking workshop. You create a lot of momentum. So doing these workshops is perfect. It's really compelling. It's inspiring, but it's about the lasting, the sustainable impact that you create. So I had, from my experience, I had really good feedback, and I was like, wow, I can change people's life. I can change teams. But I also observed then on the other hand side that in the end that we had a great outcome, a good feedback for the prototype. But after some months, when I get back to them, I heard like, oh yeah, but the team is not existing anymore. So I realized it's just doing a workshop is not enough. So this is my personal experience. And I think this is just goes beyond just running a one-stop workshop. So I would like to start with just a short and interactive keynote about the culture of innovation. And this is, therefore, I will share my screen. It's my first workshop in Butter. So let me show you that. So first of all, we need to start with the definition of what is innovation. So this is not the right one here. So I just zoom a bit out here. So first of all, and this is also one of my experiences, that people have a totally different perspective on what is innovation. So maybe I just invite you to share in the chat what is innovation for you. Or maybe you can also share something that you heard from clients or from other people. And while you are doing that, I also share my perspective. So I see invention and market success. You touch on a very important point. So for me, innovation is that I create a new value. Yeah, disruption is also part of it, a new value, but that also has a positive business impact so that it generates revenue. And what it is not is no incremental improvement. So it's not like improving an existing product for a little bit, but it's really making big steps, figuring out ways to continuously do things better. Yeah, I disagree a bit. So I think in real innovation also implements some kind of risk, and that's why these kind of let's say workshops like the design sprint is really helpful, because you make a prototype, you test it, and you have decreased your risk. But I don't want to talk about design sprint, but I want to talk about what comes after that. So when you really want to create innovation, it's also about the people. So it's about change. It's about thinking differently, another mindset. Creating culture of change and learning, exactly. Solve future problems. Yeah, it's just a different way. From my personal experience, I hear people often saying they are innovative, but they mean improvement of processes or just improvement, but not real innovation. So that's, I think, the first thing you should get clear when you just interact with people about innovation. And now I want to share a statement that's now going into that direction of culture. CultureEat strategy for breakfast. Peter Drucker framed this quote. I think he formulated maybe a little bit different, but this is actually something really true, because now companies, so let's say from the history, companies invested billions in, let's say, internal venture capital, all these hubs and internal incubators or accelerators from companies. Usually they have them they have fancy names. Usually they are not in the same building, neither not in the same city. So here near Stuttgart, we have, like I told you already, Mercedes, Porsche, etc. All hubs, they are located in Berlin or maybe in another country. So this is what they want to have, let's say, to create innovation. But the reality shows it's not working. They might have really cool innovations in these hubs, but not in their, let's say, big organization. You need to move people, you need to change people. And maybe also something here. What do you think about CultureEat strategy for breakfast? Do you have some experiences, some own experiences? And sorry if you may thought you could relax and listen, but I really want to make that interactive, because I think if we get that right, so if we understand why we need to change people's behavior, then we already have the first step done. So I see here, I think people are never the problem. Oh, that's interesting, Gerhard. It's the structures and processes. Okay, fantastic. So it's kind of also the people, but yeah, you're right. Structure and processes, especially in big organizations, they shape their behavior. Fantastic. What is allowed and what not, what behaviors are liked and what are not liked to be seen. Fantastic. Exactly, that's it. Anyone can learn anything. It's not rocket science. Yeah. As long as you know why, it's exactly. You hope that no one wants to change you. Okay, I think we all have to change constantly, and we need to embrace change as well. Okay, Don says, my org is conservative. I'm sowing the seed. Oh, that's good. Yeah, sow the seed. Okay, so you are working in a organization. So I hope you can make good use out of that framework. So you need to tell me. Please try it and tell me later on. Strategy is the road on the map. Culture is the fuel that. Nicely said. Culture is about the values people, company are united around and abide by. Who wants to change? So who wants to change? Yeah. Who wants to change? Yeah. So Don wants to change. That's a good start. So yeah, like I told you, when so I realized that just with a design sprint, I cannot really change a lot. I can start change. I can start an innovation process, but I cannot really change the organization. So, and that's why I was so happy when I heard, or when Marco told me about his culture sprint framework, and we dive deep into that. And there is also design sprint in it. So it's kind of the sprint way how to use these tools. There is a lot from Scott Anthony, and I will type that here, Scott Anthony. So he's the one who wrote books and who created also a kind of a framework, but it's really, really large. And so Marco put things together, and I took that, put it on the board. We created that workshop, that board together, and also a workshop that we run. And I now shaped that, even made that a bit smaller, because it was kind of 8 hours that we had run through that. So this is now like more 90 minutes, but I was so happy to hear from them. So culture is the foundation for everything. So whether it's a quest for innovation, for transformation, or for any kind of change. So I think you can't achieve a change process if you don't start with the culture. And this is so important in innovation. So we need to reach kind of the emotional level. And you, Gerhard just said totally correctly that you need to start also with the structures, but it's about the people who then change structures as well. And it's right. You cannot start only with, let's say, a small team. There need to be kind of a buy-in also from different stakeholders. But this is how you start. So, and we, so like I said, it's workshop is not only part of the, it's not the only part of the innovation system. It's not the whole solution. We need more than that. And we need to create kind of this ecosystem with the people. So where we can have all the resources and the sponsorship from also, let's say, hierarchy. And we need to have also the opportunity and the permission to fail. So I would like to do a little exercise. And now imagine I'm a new hire. And I think maybe this is the question, Anna Maria, that we prepared for the poll. Imagine I'm a new hire. So I'm your new colleague, and I walk into the office my first day, and I ask you, what should I do to get ahead here? So what makes people successful here? What made you successful in the company? So if you could type that here, that would be awesome, just to hear what you experienced, or what is happening in your organization. And I think this is just, it looks like a poll, but it's just, you need just to answer. Okay, thanks, Gerhard. Build strong networks and get friends with the powerful people. Okay. Network, okay. Get to know the right people. Be yourself, aim for the stars. Discipline of getting things, well done. Get to know everyone, build relationship, ask the right questions, be a team player. Oh, it's a lot about people. So that's interesting. So actually, what you describe now is part of the culture of your organization. So if you say, so I see a lot about relationship and knowing the right people. I see also bring new ideas to the table, be passionate. That already sounds a bit more innovative. And there's also, we also have a assessment I will share with you later. So I have the link here, an assessment for people within an organization, just to assess at what point you are and to state the situation in that moment, and then take it from there. So to understand where in the process you are. And this is also, let's say, part of the bigger workshop. I see Gerhard, but that's exactly what's wrong with it. Since it shows, it only gives power to the ideas, and people have the best connections are the strongest. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we need to change. And that's also what I will hopefully provide you with, or that you can use that to improve that. Okay, so that's your culture, like I just said. And I would like to, yeah, so culture. So now I share my screen here. This is a quote from Jocelyn Goldfine. Culture is the behavior you reward and punish. And that's also something that relates to the structures and, let's say, to the governance, to the leadership also. What is rewarded? So what behavior is rewarded and what is punished? And I just point out one thing that I always hear, and that's making failures. And especially in a let's say innovative company, but what I heard there is, yeah, we have a culture of failure. We need to make mistakes. So they over and over emphasized on that. But then after the session, when we talked like a coffee chat, then I heard like, yeah, but we need to make the right mistakes. Okay. And you know, you understand. So this is exactly what you shouldn't do. So it's about, yeah, we make failures. So it's good to make failures, but only if the failures are the right ones. Okay. So it's still, there's a lot of stress and pressure, and it's not a failure, let's say a failure culture or a culture of failure. This is something, what you realize when you understand what gets punished and what gets rewarded from behavioral level. Oh, I don't go into all. I just want to point out, what is the other thing I wanted to emphasize on? That one. So I think that's also all obvious what I now tell you, but it's still important to state. So culture is only when you have several people. It's not only, so you yourself, you cannot have a culture. A culture is always existing with several people. So just we go into this organization. This is where we are talking about. It's also only a culture when it has a consistency. So when you see a specific behavior or culture for a longer time frame. So not only when you say, oh, tomorrow we are doing something different and it just lasts for 1-2 weeks. That's not a culture yet. Culture is also pervasive. So it's contagious through multiple levels, and it ideally spreads throughout the organization. So in a good way and in a bad way, same. And it merges kind of with the organization itself. And if you have a good culture, the best thing that can happen is that it also influences people externally. And that goes into, let's say, brand perception from the perspective of the customers. So ideally, if you have a good culture, a positive culture, innovative culture, this is also spread outside your company. And another thing is that it needs to be implicit. So it's an overlooked aspect of culture that people they don't recognize that they are reacting instinctively. So we want to stay within our comfort zone. We don't like change. Also, so it's just our human nature. I also need to go out of my comfort zone intentionally. So this is just our natural behavior. So if we want to enable change in an organization, within a team, then we need to have something that is engaging, compelling, fun, and we need to see immediate benefit for us. And I want to show you another diagram for that. So it needs to be like that. So either the motivation is really, really high, or it's easy to do. And so the optimal state is when it's kind of, because high motivation is difficult always to achieve, but if it's like the sweet spot between being very motivational and easy to do. So this is what we need to achieve here. And I would like to end that with an analogy. And this is, think of habits, think of this, let's say, the culture of innovation needs to be installed like a habit. So think of the innovation culture like a baby you want to get asleep. So you need to think about avoid distraction. So you need maybe to close windows. It needs to be dark. You need to shut all the, let's say, external noises and whatever. And you need to maybe give the baby milk, warm milk, and sing a lullaby. So this is what you have to think about. So what you need to avoid and what you need to, let's say, install. And it works then when you do that over time. So when you do that once, it doesn't work. But if you do that, let's say, already, so helping babies to fall asleep, when you have like a habit and you stay to that, attached to that for 1 week, it works. So I have 3 kids. I know what I'm talking about, but you need to stick to it. Okay, now I would like to invite all of you to the workshop. I talked enough. And now I stop screen sharing and you can just, maybe there are some questions, then just let me know, but I would dive into that, into the workshop. So you just go to the right side, click on the whiteboard.
I open it now for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. So I see you all here. So we have another hour and we want to get good use of that. And first question here, you can just type in your name, but the first question here, and you can answer that either double click on the board, answer it here, or answer that in the chat. It's just think about what object was a huge support before the pandemic. And okay, here it's about how did you replace it after? Okay, the pandemic. When I wrote that, I thought the pandemic is over, but it's not over yet. But just it's about what kind of habit you had or what object creates this habit or this attachment that helped you. It can be also a habit, a ritual. And what would you keep or how would you replace that? What would you keep? Sorry, this is just wrong. Sorry for that. What would you like to keep? So during the pandemic, you might learn new things. And what would you keep? Also, if, let's say, you are out of this pandemic mode. Let's say I'm still working online and virtually, and I will keep that. But still, we will also have in-person workshops, or we will have other kind. We go to the office again. We see people again. What do you keep? And this is already kind of the thinking of you change things. So the pandemic forced us to change behavior from one day to another. And during that time, and that's why I talk about habits, during that time, you had kind of a habit installed. If you now worked, let's say, in your bedroom or in the kitchen, and you, I don't know, always cook a tea now when you are, before you start working, that might be a good starter for you that to set you in the mood. Okay, now I'm getting started at work. And let's say this environment, a specific tea. So this is kind of sets you into that mood. And this is habit what we are talking about. Okay, I see ability to change. Admit it's difficult, ask for help, offer help. Oh, that's a good thing. So the behavior, I think, yeah, that's a good one, that we ask for help and we offer help. I think that is also something that changed. I will keep working asynchronously. Okay, Anna Maria, good to hear. Healthy eating, exactly. So that is also something we come to that later on, to these kind of habits. Now I would like to bring you to the new work section. So Anna Maria, if you follow me, you will then, okay. So we go to the new work section. And now let's start. So this is a kind of, I told you already, this framework is actually much bigger. And I just boiled that down. And to get started, I would like to know what is the biggest challenge regarding team collaboration. And now you can think of a team, let's say your own team in your organization, or you can also think of a client's team. If you are an external consultant, facilitator, and you think of a project you're on, what is the biggest challenge regarding innovation? And we need to, these blue Post-its, could you, maybe we just create new ones, because they are, we don't need.
I unlocked them as well.
Okay, then we use them, because we need to just use them. We also don't need so many. So like I told you, I only want to make a demonstration. So I want you to experience the framework, but I also don't want to go too deep, because it's not, we are not a team. We don't need to create a new, let's say, culture for us, but I would like to do as much as to make you experience the framework, so that you are able to do that with your teams as well. So while you are writing, and thanks for that, maybe Anna Maria, if you want to set the timer to 1 minute now, so giving you 1 minute. If the stickies are full, just double click for a new sticky. And so we will have another minute for that. Is it possible to put other type of music into? You don't need to do that, but just a question outside of.
Yes, I can if I turn it. I can if I stop it now.
No, you don't need to stop it. I just wanted to know if you can also create individual music.
So this one is the timer from Miro, and they have pre-selected musics, and this is how our timers work as well. But we are soon trying to have an upload for the timer, so we can upload our own music.
Oh. That's fantastic, because I always share music, because I think this is really helpful. And what is also really helpful here in Butter, that you have, so I created already an outline for the whole exercise. And you see now on the top left menu bar, the time passes for the whole exercise. So next step is, please categorize these, the input, the how might we's. Oh, it's not how might we's, but anyway, just the challenges. Please categorize them under the blue Post-its. Just add something to the blue Post-its, add categories, and just sort them, just to understand better what we collected. And we see alignment is an issue, empathy is an issue as well, clear expectations. I just assume clear expectations go into the direction of strategy. So you need to know exactly what is the vision or the goal of your team or your organization. unclear roles as well. Do I see somewhere something like not missing safety in a team? I see missing structures from team lead. Missing social interaction, yeah, I think that also goes a bit into the direction, because for creating innovation in a team, you also need to have a safe environment. This is also very important. So the more you communicate, the more you are open, the better. Colleagues not knowing how innovation works and think they do. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's clear. So the colleagues think they are innovative, but they are not. Okay, so it's all fine with that. So we, let's say when you do that workshop, be clear about really going to the point, taking all the input from the team, aligning everyone on what are the issues. This is where everyone can get also a voice. Also people who have, let's say, are not the loudest in a team. This is how you get everyone's contribution. And I would like to do a quick voting round. Could you start a voting session, just 1 minute, 4 votes. And then I invite everyone to vote on what you think are the most critical challenges, the biggest challenges.
Has voting started?
Not sure. Can you start the voting session?
Sorry, I am on it right now, but for some reason, 2 of them were blocked. So let me just select the post-its and then after.
Okay, then we just use some.
That's it.
Now, okay, you are on it. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So you can simply click on the stickies.
Yeah. Okay.
That you find more important.
Fantastic. So this is how you then understand what your team is thinking. So what will be the most critical challenge? And this is what we will use in the next phase to work on it. Because it's important to understand what are the barriers within your team. What is your, let's say, the biggest blockers for creating this, let's say, innovation culture for, let's say, I ask you about the challenge regarding team collaboration. So I also didn't want to go that far and already talking about innovation. Sometimes it starts with collaboration. Okay, we see that the highest rank is working in silos. Okay, so now for the next step, it is not that we now work only on one, but you can have kind of an orientation. I don't know, do we see the results now on the post-its? I'm not so often in Miro, but maybe
we'll try and see how to. Yes, so, there we go. Oopsie.
Yeah, I see the voting result as an overview, but I don't see them here on the. But I just.
I can see them.
Yeah, so I see them as well in blue dots.
Okay, the only thing what you need to, it's just to give you this overview, because when we now, in a later step, create the beans, or let's say create elements, how to install a culture of innovation. When we do that, you can just choose one of these challenges to start with, and that's all, so that you have the orientation here. But it's like the first step is to get the team aligned on what is the biggest challenge here. So now I would like to go to the beans and introducing the beans to you. So you can just be here and just have a look at it. So the beans is an abbreviation from behavior enablers, artifacts, and nudges. And they are to incorporate an automatic adoption of desired behaviors through this, let's say, organizational habits. We think of them as a habit. And we need to find out which one is the best for the team. And I think we as facilitators, we know the easiest thing is let them create it. So this is why it's created by the team. So we are doing that now as a team, but the best is you have like one ready team, one team that needs to change, and you do it with them. So, and this is all based on behavioral science. I'm not a scientist here, but I read a lot about that. So it's already proved, so it's working. And what is important here to emphasize, beans work best if they are memorable, if they are fun, and if they are easy to adopt, so easy to install, easy to do. So keep in mind that the habits always have 3 fundamental characteristics. They need to have kind of a cue, they need to have a routine, and they need to have also a reward or kind of a celebration. So these 3 elements need to be included in a bean. And the cool thing is we are able to design these. So think of beans as a good habit. And now I would like to invite you again for a poll or for just share with me in the chat. Think of a habit that you tried. Now think of more your personal life. When did you try to live healthier, to improve your fitness or something like that? Just write into the chat what comes to your mind. So that can be something that you would like to start tomorrow, or that you already tried and you failed. Kind of these habits, putting the running shoes in front of your door so that you cannot go out of the door without wearing these shoes, something like that. Go sleep before midnight every day. Always fail. Yeah, same here. Grace, same here. I also try, but I fail. Go sleep before 10. Okay, more challenging. Get to bed. You have all that thing with going to bed earlier. This is really good, by the way. Putting my phone in another room. Gratitude each evening. Very good. Yeah, like that. Healthier eating. Blocking time on my calendar for exercise. I have to admit, I had that also in my calendar, but you also need to do it. So let's say for me, this kind of habit, putting something to the calendar is difficult. If I then, this is part of this habit, if I see it, but then I need to go somewhere to wear my shoes to do something, then this is already kind of a blocker here. Meditate every day, taking a walk to the park, making time for breakfast. Wonderful things. So thanks for that. So this is what we need to install for a team. So not for ourselves, but for a team. So, but you understand that fantastic. I'm really happy about that. So let's go to the examples. And now I would like to send you in breakouts. And in 5 breakout groups, I don't know how many people we are. So if we make 5 breakout rooms, that will be perfect. And 1 breakout, so we just take breakout room number 1, takes the left side. So sorry for that. So the first breakout room is reading everything under the column curious. So these beans are segmented in 5 different, let's say, topics. One topic is curiosity. The other one is customer obsessed. the other one is collaborative, the other one is adapt in ambiguity, and the other one is empowered. So each group is looking into the next. So let's say number 1 is looking into curious, first column, breakout number 2 into the second column. So you understand the pattern. And now you just read through that and you talk about it, and you will have 5 minutes. Okay, I see Dina need to leave in 5 minutes, but maybe she can be in the breakout for a moment. So, and then just read it, talk about it, and when you come back after 5 minutes, you share that with the others. So this is a, let's say, more compelling way to share the knowledge, to understand and structure the knowledge here. And this is to inspire each other for the next step for creating the beans. We are back and we are muted. So you need to unmute yourself now when you want to share from your group. And what we would like to, maybe we can just start now at column 5. And I just want to call out, who would like to share from the last group? What about, why do I, Gidrius? Sorry, I cannot. Gidrius? No.
Yeah, Giedrus.
No, Grace. No, sorry, Grace was that. Sorry for that. So Grace was in the last column. Maybe you can just quickly share with the others, and this is what we do. So 1 minute each, just sharing what is about empowered. What examples did you experience?
Yeah, okay. So in the empowered section, there are 2 companies. So one is Spotify and the other one is J&J. So basically, in Spotify, they said that employees would be trained as catalysts, and then people would spend actually 10% of their time coaching and mentoring, helping the other employees. So actually, everyone has a chance to ask for their colleagues to help them with coaching. So to learn from more experiences and more from others. And then the other company is called the J&J. So they actually host a TEDx J&J events. So as you can imagine what TEDx is about, they would have opportunities to share with each other their ideas. And no matter if easy ideas or simple ideas, they can share it. And also they have an interactive website that serves as a platform for people to collaborate online and develop some new ideas. So I guess the empowerment means that there are more chances to collaborate with each other and also sharing ideas using these 2 methods.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So who was in group number 4 and want to share that? Adapt in ambiguity. Who would like to share? So breakout number 4, the Spotify. Okay, Barbara.
Hi, everyone. So we looked into the Theta Group, not sure if I pronounced that right, and Spotify. I'm going to talk about the one thing they have in common, which is they both have fail walls, and they both celebrate failure very clearly. And one thing that was discussed in the group that was said by Whitney was the importance of deconstruct the idea of failure being bad, because we grow up believing that we cannot fail and we have to live up to external expectations. And another thing that was brought up also was the fact that it's important to have a moment to look into the error and what we can do differently. Also, have a moment of mourning, because sometimes our identity is deeply linked to our project. So if they fail, we cannot extract any learning from it immediately. So just having a moment to mourn and then getting the learning experience.
Mm-hmm. So that was both examples. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Barbara. Who from group number 3 can share about the topic of collaboration? What the beans examples? Who could share here?
I was on team 1.
Okay, please start.
Okay. What we basically did was just read through the text and then discuss the example of the Innovation Week in Atlassian, which I had never heard about before, and also about the training that you do individually through scholarships and then passing on the learnings to colleagues. That's not something we do, but one of the people in our room, I'm afraid I've already forgotten her name, I'm very sorry, was talking about the Atlassian sort of innovation week, and about how you get like people from different competencies together to create an innovation. One point I didn't share during that was I have experienced an innovation week before, but it was started by a tech group within the company, and then it becomes very geeky, and it's not really innovation, but it's like what's a cool new way to roll out Kubernetes or something like that, which has nothing to do with innovation at all. So that's a challenge, and I think when it comes from the product side sometimes, and you pull people in from different sides, from like customer support, products, the development guys, information or functional analysts, you get a kind of a much more rounded approach to the curiosity then, that you can do a deeper dive.
Thank you.
Okay.
So who was from group number 2 or 3? Arif.
Hi, sorry, I was in group number 3. I wanted to make it the right way to hand, but it took me some time to find that. Sorry for that.
Glad you find it.
Yes. So we were working on the collaborative, and actually we discussed one of them, but I'll go through both. So first one, I'm going to start with the second one. We were discussing the 2-pizza rule at Amazon, and I think the good thing about this was that if we want to do, I guess, the effective meetings, we want to have a group smaller enough that can feed 2 pizzas only. And we were kind of comparing this to the fact that we say we need the right people in the room during the meetings, which can actually sound pretty rough. But when we apply this 2-pizza rule, it makes it more, I guess, digestible, like for people to apply that rule rather than to go with, we need the right people in this meeting. And for the brain trust picture, we didn't discuss it, but when I was reading this, I was kind of going to the retrospective, but I appreciated the stuff that they have here regarding looking into the performance data as well, not only discussing the stuff that they actually want to do again, or the 5 things that they don't want to do anymore, but also looking at the performance data, which will actually boost discussions. And most importantly for me, actually, is discussing and challenging the assumptions based on subjective impressions, which I think is a pretty powerful thing, and it can actually drag you back if we just look into the assumptions only.
Thank you so much. I like that you all shared also personal experiences. Do we also have someone from group 2 to share these 2, the MetLife and also the HubSpot experience or example? You can also just unmute yourself.
Yeah, I can talk to that. So this was about customer obsession. So at MetLife, they have a wall of customers in the Asian Innovation Hub. We like the idea that the customers are represented not just in a persona and stuck in a folder. They're just there living all the time, but also thought that it would be really cool if that was some way to kind of prototype something that they could roll out to the whole wider business. And maybe it could be everywhere from top to bottom, not just in an innovation hub. The idea ideally would be that customer centricity went everywhere. At HubSpot, they kind of create that solve for the customer by aligning every goal. I suppose that's kind of an interesting way to do it. My only challenge to that would be that sometimes when you force people to do that in their goals, you need to also make sure that they're kind of wanting to do that. So you have to drive that as a cultural thing, not just as a tick box exercise.
This is exactly what we need to do. So this is now just an example, but you don't know exactly how this is executed. So that sounds maybe a bit difficult. Yeah, you just said people need to want to do it. They need to, they need to have the willingness to do it. But this is exactly what we will create. So when you have a team, they will only come up with ideas that they also find compelling and align on that. So this is already, let's say, an easier entrance than if someone comes and say, oh, HubSpot has a great idea, so let's do that as well. And, you know, a CEO is coming and say, oh, then we will be more customer centric, so let's just imitate HubSpot. This is not working. So, and now let's go to the next step, and there we will also go again in not yet in breakouts, but so this exercise we will do together here, and this is a preparation to create the beans. So it's quite easy because you need to think about what is your desired behavior. So what is your envisioned state? What do you want to what do you have as a goal? And that needs to align with the, let's say, the company strategy, with the company goals. So because it's just important, are you more about focusing on the customer? Are you more about tech innovation? Are you more about, you need to align that for sure. But then from that perspective, what is the desired behavior? So it's just filling out the Post-its in a way like, it would be great if we ... And then the next thing is to understand what is our blockers. So that is just the sentence, but instead we are blah, 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 doing this or that. So for example, it would be great if we overcome our silos and we collaborate in multidisciplinary teams, but instead we are living in silos and we don't talk to each other. So that would be an example. So we should, and then you can just create your first idea, and that's just in one sentence, thinking about what might be such an idea. And this idea is the starting point for the beans that you can then take further. So I invite you all to grab one of these frames, and you can think of, let's say, the behavior blocker would be one of the how might we's or of these challenges that we started with in the first exercise. So you can just take that. I think it was working in silos. You can also take something else. So it's just to understand the principles. And this is really to make it easy for participants to, you already give them a prompt so that it's easy to answer or to fulfill this sentence, just each sentence with another perspective. And this leads you to let's say, to the next step, to design the beans. And I would just add now another minute, really fast. Stuck in between. I will just read out maybe one or two of them. So it would be great. So just an example now I read the first one. It would be great if we collaborate more, frequent and fast, but instead we work alone in our offices with weekly updates. So we should start pairing work. 2 people, 1 screen, 4 eyes are faster, make less mistakes. So fantastic. So this is how you should start it. And you could now take that and in the next step, elaborate more on it. So how would that look like as a real bean with all the components? We will come to that in a minute. Then we have another one. It would be great if we actively listen to others' opinion, but instead we focus on our own opinions. So we should stay quiet while others talk. That's also a good one. So you can also create a bean out of that. So that would need more, let's say, stay quiet while others talk, will enforce some things, some behaviors. So how can you empower this behavior? What do you need for that? This is also really interesting. Or just take another one. Unlocked. It would be great if we unlock creativity and we were more open to diversity. But instead we stick with what we were taught and do endless reruns of it. So we should challenge our preconceived ideas and approach coming up with new ideas as a game or play. That already goes into a specific direction that you can work out perfectly in the next step. So thanks for your contribution here. Now we go to the last step in our workshop, and this is create your beans. So I don't know if you follow me. Yeah. Okay. So now I just, so this is a canvas, how you can create the beans. And I just go quickly through the different steps. So again, you have the desired behavior. You already filled that out, so you can just add on to that. So what is your desired behavior? Now I give you the example from Adobe Kickbox. So the desired behavior is that you assist your employees in developing their creative ideas into tangible products. It's very simple sentence, but it's clear. The intention is clear. So the behavior blocker is, we assume that individuals have the necessary resources and do not provide explicit permission for them to pursue their ideas. So this is the blocker. So now you need three elements. You need the behavior enablers, you need the artifacts, and you need the nudges. So a behavior enabler in that case is the Kickbox provides guides and resources for employees to innovate and experiment. Then the artifacts is this physical red Kickbox with the material. So this is something you see, you can touch, and that reminds you of you need to innovate and explore and experiment. And the nudge is distributing the Kickbox to the employees, encourage them to play and experiment. So the nudge is they get the box. And this getting the box is kind of a nudge for them. Now they can start. So it empowers them. And the bean then going into the details. So it contains an innovation curriculum. It contains a checklist. They will get a $1,000 credit without need for approval. So they just get it and they can start. They also get notepads and coffee vouchers for discussions. So this is and there's also illustrations just to understand that better. This is a simple bean. You can also then read later on everything which is around that. But now I would like to give us, I would say 10 minutes. And again, we go in breakouts, and now we are 16. Maybe we can just make 4 breakouts. And now you do that as a team, or maybe we do 15. Yeah, let's do 4. So you are in 3 or in maximum 4 people, and just start creating that. So you can just discuss that, think about what might be, just a line on what is the behavior, desired behavior, the behavior blocker, and then think about one of the beans. And you can now just choose one of your prepared frames. So this desired behavior, it would be great if we, but instead we ... So we should ... You can use that as a preparation. You can also start something new. Just align it with your team. And it's just about understanding how you create these so that you are able to do that with a team. But I think it will be funny to see in the end what will happen.
How many minutes, Sabrina?
So we do 10 minutes. No, let's do 7 minutes. Sorry, we do 7 minutes. So just do it quick, and then we have a bit of time for Q&A.
Right. And you already know the drill. We'll pass to open the boards. Have fun, everyone. See you in 7 minutes.
Welcome back. So I think you realize that when you do that with your team, you should calculate much more time for that. That's clear. So this was only to make you experience the process. And when we do that with a team, this is also done individually. So this is done by people individually. And then you just look at, let's say, many ideas, and then you evaluate them, which are, let's say, this is the grid below of the beans where you just can evaluate them. So which to choose which one you want to try with your team. But maybe I just want to go quickly to maybe show the process where I was in, because this is something I can just share. And I will do that quickly because we are coming to the end of the session. So desired behavior, we want to install a continuous product discovery process to improve the product value for the customers. But instead, we are working in an agile system where the product feature gets shipped and never gets improved. So the behavior enabler needs to be evaluating if the product is successful. And for example, then just using a bi-weekly check-in with the customer, however that will be done, that needs to be figured out in the beans. Then as an artifacts, there need to be the Google Analytics and something with a big heart. So it needs to be not like a daily grid, a daily sheet. There need to be something different, something compelling where you see, oh, there's a heart. Oh, okay, it's nice. I want to work with it. I want to be there. And a nudge can be something like a calendar invite that pops up. Okay, now you need to do this. And then you just do it. So these are, let's say, the elements that you need for a bean. And let's say in the middle, so we just had no time. You experience that. So there you can make a little sketching. You can think about, okay, where can you make this check-in with the customers? Do you do that on the street? Do you do that, let's say, virtually, or let's say depending on the product, and what are the elements here? And maybe do you give them a voucher, or how do you celebrate that? So this is what you need to do. And when you do that as a team, automatically there are concepts that the team also wants to do. So it's also quite, let's say, quite easy. You need to align on one or maybe two, just how to get started. And you need to test it as well. So just think about how long it should be tested. So for example, if we here have something like a bi-weekly, it's clear, it's obvious, it should be at least tested twice. So not testing that less than a month. But I would like to close the session with, let's say, what you liked, what you wonder, and please ask question. You can open your mic, write it into the chat if you have more questions to that. And I told you that I also share the assessment with you. Should I do that in the chat? Will that be recorded? Okay, then I just share it in the chat now.
We can share it in the chat, and we can also add it in the follow-up email, Sabrina, as well. Okay. So I will do that.
Perfect. So let me just... So this assessment will give you can share within your team. Yeah. So chat. So many ideas. Yeah, thanks for the feedback. So you already made this feedback here in the chat. So do you have some questions? Just let me know.
Yes, Baya is asking if we are sharing access to this board.
Yeah, sure. So if it's no problem for you, for me, it's no problem.
Perfect. Yay! So we can continue beaning.
Yeah, create beans, try it. And I'm happy if you get connected with me on LinkedIn and share your outcomes. So I hope you will try it successfully. So also, I think having like this 90 minutes is not bad. It's not a bad start, but I think when you do that with a team, you might invest a bit more time, or you make like 2 sessions so that you do the first step until to these 3 post-its only. So we wish to do this and that, but instead we do. So if you maybe make that until that point, the first session, and then you meet again and you go from there and just create beans. Maybe this is something to consider. More questions? Yeah, and it's really just to not enough time. We had not enough time, but I think it was enough to understand how it's working. I can also share with you another link to a talk that we had, but this is only a talk, not a workshop. One of the meetups that I organized. This is what I can share. I share that with you, Anna Maria, later on, because I need to search for it.
No worries. Yeah, we can. If you have any other resources, Sabrina, that you think will be useful, we will send everyone a follow-up email as well with the board and all the links and the form and so on. So you have everything in one place.
Thanks, Gerhard, also for your feedback. Thanks all for your appreciative feedback. This is what we facilitators need. And I hope that it creates some impact. So, because I think it's, and also maybe a last tip, install only one of these beans, and maybe like after 1 month, another bean. So not too much at the same time. So go slow. It's more important maybe to try. Maybe you also will figure out the first one is not working, then try another one. But just improve that over time and step by step. So think more of a horizon like a year, or let's say maybe a bit more, because it's a process. It's not like a workshop that you do and then it's working.
And I wonder, Sabrina, if, because I think when you're saying we implement a bean and then we look if it's working or not, I'm guessing that it's also advisable to set up sort of a feedback mechanism or a process together with the team. When are we going to follow up? What do we want to see changing? When do we know if it's working or not working, etc.?
Yeah, so I can give you the tip from, let's say, the strategizer tools are really helpful. So there are, let's say, in the big workshop, like I told you, it's like 8 hours. So it's really huge, and there are 2 assessments in it. But there we use the team canvas from Strategizer. It's very simple. It's very simple. So it's more about, I have the book here. No, I have the Invincible Company, but the other one, they have a new book since I think this year or last year, the tools for teams, something like that. And there's only a few canvases, but you can use them in different ways. So they are very simple, but they are they can be used in various ways. So if you just use the team canvas from Strategizer, just to set up, to think about who also has which responsibility. If you change something, if you install such a bean, then you need to have kind of a owner and dedicated people, or people who are responsible for, maybe one is responsible for inviting the people, if it's something where you do something with the people, or you need to do something. So you need to think about how you spread that, the responsibility in the team, and maybe also think about blockers. How can you avoid blockers, or what do you need to do? So Team Canvas is great. It did create impact. Oh, good to hear.
I feel that we could easily spend here maybe 3 more hours to dig into all of those canvases and all of your tools. And I think that Gerhard mentioned that, have you tried beanstorming from InnoSight? I'm like, no, but we will. So thank you for that tip, Gerhard. And thank you so much, Sabrina. I loved the board. I loved the process. And as someone coming with a background of learning and development, where we are so obsessed with changing people's behavior and creating an impact, or we're managers, we're leaders, I think it's so valuable to have this clear structure to guide us through that process, because it can be quite daunting to change behaviors of a team when there's so much assumption and so much... it even works against the way we work as humans, right?
Yes.
We dread change. Our brain says no to change by default. So I think this was very helpful, and thank you so much. I speak for myself, but thank you. Thanks a lot for accepting my invitation to bring this interesting concept to the bottom.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.